Right, here's the steering arm in there on that rudder post, that front spar. I've got to drill at least one hole through there to put a bolt in there. It'd probably be good to have two to hold that on so that it turns with the rudder. I bought a couple of jigs to do that with. This one here I got specifically for that, and that's to use that on motorcycle handlebars and stuff to drill holes straight through. I've used it before for something, I forget what, and it works pretty good, but it won't work on here because I got the fabric on. And I've got this little jig here. This is a Big Gator Tools standard drill jig, and it's for drilling holes. It's got V on one side so it'll fit down over a tube to drill straight through, but that won't work either because it's just too long to fit between the rudder horn and the tailwheel steering fork there. So I got to eyeball it. Well, that's what we'll do now. I've got a long 3/32 drill bit in here that I'll drill the pilot hole with, and then we'll follow it up with a clearance hole for a number 3 bolt, number 10 screw. Where the holes for the bolts are in there now, well, I'm going to pull this fork out of there and deburr those holes and clean that up, and then put some grease in there, some peralcatone in there. Well, then we'll put a couple bolts in there, tighten them down, and that thing will be good to go. And we can go put this rudder on there now. Well, I screwed that up. I tried to get that steering fork out of there to clean up the holes there and to grease up everything in there to put it back together, and it wasn't coming out. I was getting it to turn in there, but it was really tight. I thought it was just from the burrs and stuff from drilling the hole, and started tapping it real easy, and it just busted off. Came right out there. Well, then I was drilling that out because that slug's left in there, and I got to get it out. So I started drilling that out, and I was running through different sizes of drill bits there, and that thing got so hot that the fabric, the glue and everything came undone back here. I didn't realize it was getting that hot, and that's probably what was wrong. Drilling these holes here probably heated that aluminum up enough that it expanded in that tube and was stuck in there. If I'd have just waited till it cooled off, I probably could have got it out of there a lot easier. Well, anyway, that's a mess. I went down and looked at the other rudder, the old one, and that fork on there is kind of cruddy, but it's probably okay. But I tried to get it out, and it's stuck in that tube pretty doggone tight. You got aluminum inside of steel there. Probably not a chance in hell of getting that out of there. Well, I went ahead and just went down and looked and ordered a new fork here. Well, it'll be a few days before it gets here, but I got to get that slug out of there, so I'll let that sit and cool off now. I just finished drilling that hole out. I had to stop on that a while ago, so I have to drill that out a little bit at a time because it just gets too doggone hot. And just that short bit that I did started discoloring that paint there. But anyway, I had to figure out some way of getting that slug out of there. Well, I got that plug out of there. And what I did was I drilled that out progressively larger, and I drilled it out the last time with a 3/8 inch drill bit, and I was going to tap that for a 7/16 inch bolt. So I got my tap for a 7/16 14 and started tapping that hole. Once I got in there a little ways, that plug just started spinning, and I just pulled it out with the tap in there. So it just goes to show that if I had let that cool off before I tried pulling that out of there, it probably would have come out just fine without breaking it. But it's broke now, so I got a new one on the way. Not sure what I'm going to do. So I was going to clean this tube out a little bit and put some Cora-Seal in it, and I guess I'll just put that rudder up out of the way, maybe put back up where it was until I get the new steering fork for it. I guess meantime what I'll do is I'll go ahead and make up those covers that I need, inspection covers for the tail. The next thing to do is start working on the engine. Now I still have to make brackets for the engine mount, or for the engine cowling to mount up to. I've got the brackets that went on the inside of the firewall that extend out into the boot cowl that support that. I've got to make the brackets that go on the outside of the firewall that the cowling mounts up to. I probably should go ahead and do that before I put the engine on, and then I can get ready to start putting the engine on. Well, I ran a couple of swabs with some paint thinner down that tube, that spar, cleaned it out. I got the last rag actually came back clean on it. I'll set that up so it'll run out of there. The paint thinner will run out of there and let that dry out. And then I'll put some Cora-Seal in it and let that cure. And then we'll see where we go from there. Except for that steering fork on there, that thing is ready to hang.